Hello everyone. We need to talk about something important today as everyone is now fully alert that Joe Biden has stepped aside from running for re-election for the 24th elections against Trump this year, and I know that there is mixed feelings about what happened in the last few hours and finding out that Biden has endorsed Kamala Harris to be the nominee for the Oval Office. I'm here to give my thoughts about everything just in a moment. First off, I want everyone to first please stop this fear-mongering, and I'm going to tell you right now, know that we don't have a perfect democracy and that is okay and that needs to be accepted, but there is room for improvement. Second, we can't fear the unknown. From what I'm hearing is fear part of us is kicking in, and all I'm hearing after Biden's decision that he has made in last 24 hours, I noticed there is a lot of fear mongering about the news, and that needs to stop because I know that Kamala Harris is more qualified to do the job as president. This is my opinion. I'm going to be very honest with you about my reason why I'm asking is that, why are people now complaining about that Biden has endorsed for Kamala Harris for running for president? And some are saying that it is impossible for a woman become president. I do much think Biden was bullied off the president race, and now that he left the presidential race for his re-election he is unfit, but I think he can finish his term. I'm going to be honest with you about it, and that is I think we do, or we defiantly need a woman in office as the President of the United States. I know that our democracy is not perfect whatsoever, but I do believe we need to find solution for each issue for our country to make things better. For those who are saying that a woman can't lead a country, that is totally untrue. Did some research by reading this about this article by Dr. Czar about his journalism about the very first secret first female president, and this was the first lady who ran the country. Now, I'm going to read an article from Dr. Czar and about a first lady who was secretly have taken over the duties of the president that whom was in the Oval Office. The article called History and Headlines that has this section of the story. This is true in our history books, if anyone cared enough to read the history books. The First Lady Who Secretly Ran the U.S. Government by Journalist. Small Brief of History by Dr. Czar. From October 2, 1919 and for some weeks afterwards, First Lady Edith Wilson, October 15, 1872. December 28, 1961, unofficially ran the U.S. government following her husband's then President Woodrow Wilson's life-changing stroke. In the aftermath of America's participation in what was then the world's worst war, World War I, and his diplomatic wrangling at the Paris Peace Conference that followed the war's conclusion in 1919, a worn-out President Wilson returned to America only to experience a series of medical crises. Second, on September 25, he actually collapsed on a public speaking tour while trying to garner support for his proposed League of Nations. The worst incident, however, occurred on October 2, 1919. On that date, Wilson suffered a stroke of such intensity that it incapacitated him, having permanently paralyzed the left side of his body and even blinding his left eye. While he was bedridden for the next 2 months, only his wife, physicians, and a few other close associates saw him. In the meantime, the First Lady in effect took over many of the president's responsibilities, including reviewing various important matters of state. Even after the president was released from his sick bed, he still spent the remainder of the year in a wheelchair. As 1920 came about, his mental health had clearly deteriorated as his mind wandered and he exhibited a diminished memory. Thus, the First Lady continued to play a pivotal role as a sort of unofficial acting president. As the First Lady put it, she had taken on a stewardship to care for the largely incapacitated president and keep the American government running as smoothly as possible. The situation was so unique in American history and the president's condition so tragic that the extent of what the ailing president endured was kept secret from the American public until his death a couple of years after his term ended. My point in talking about the journalist article about the First Lady to run the president duties is that it is very much possible to get a woman into office, and it is a long time coming to have a woman run for president and do the same duties as any president. All the noise that is that because she is a Black Asian American woman gives every one of you a reason not to vote or vote for Trump. Like, really? To me that sounds racist and hypocritical, while at the same time it sounds very misogynistic to its core, and I know as the slurs of misogynistic and racial are going to amplify even more. The characteristics show two things as of right now since the announcement. First, for those of you who say that very racists and very misogynistic you shows who you are. And second, it shows me and others that those of you are not ready for change that we all think needs to happen in order to improve on making more progress in the United States. I can say that because if Congress individual is freaking out about the news about Kamala Harris endorsement, it shows their true color and their true intentions to the citizen of the United States. I think having or getting a woman officially in the presidential seat is the most important in this moment.